Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Small Talk Bigger Ideas. I am your host, Neil Lopez, and on this podcast, I interview fellow creatives, entrepreneurs, artists, musicians, and people alike. The purpose of this podcast is to have freestyle conversation with these fellow creatives, entrepreneurs, artists, musicians, and anything of the sort. And with our small talk, we hope to motivate you to get a bigger idea. Today's guest is... I forgot how to say it already.
Loaiza.
Loaiza, gotcha. And Dominique Mancini.
Yes.
Thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you for bringing us.
Yeah,
No
happy
problem.
to be here.
No problem. So, Alex is a cinematographer and as well gaffer and as well anything really to do kind of like short film, movie-ish, documentary style. He's shot quite a few films of his own and actually working on a project now with Dominique.
Yay.
Who is an actress. So what we want to do actually first before we kick this podcast off is show you the trailer for Analepsis.
Tell me a little bit about how your mother treated you growing up in that household, Dana.
Please! Get in the closet! Shut your fucking mouth!
Analepsis.
All right, everyone. So welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that quick little teaser / trailer for Analepsis. So guys, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Really exciting that that trailer for that movie. It looks pretty rad. What made you want to come up with that one? What was kind of like the brainstorm and the motivation behind that?
I'm a really big fan of like Ari Aster, and he's another director, and he directed Hereditary and also Midsommar just come out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was summer of this year, if I'm not mistaken. But he does more psychological horrors, and I don't know, I just kind of like that style, and it's more of like a psychological drama.
Right. Gotcha. I seen Hereditary. Is so freaky.
It is. Yeah,
I had
it's
a
really
nightmare
freaky.
about it one night. It's that part where I guess she gets possessed or whatever happens, and she's standing in the corner. Those old folks come out of the kitchen. I was like, oh,
Okay.
you know it's bad. You know it's bad when you get chills in your body.
Yeah.
And you know it's like that was the first time, and then a few more times I looked at it. And I was like, no, I'm not looking at this anymore. It's just too much.
You feel different after you watch it.
Right. Exactly. It's just it's one of those movies that really gets to you.
Yeah.
But,
that's exactly what happens.
Yeah. So kind of give us, I mean, the trailer is really cool. I like it. But give us kind of like a synopsis, if you can, of what the movie's going to be about.
So it's about like a broken family, and pretty much I play Dana, which is the lead character in the film, and she develops a lot of issues, and they don't come out until later on when she's older, and then the story kind of goes through like how, and it explains why she is the way she is, without giving too much away.
Gotcha.
And so things start to unfold, and then it makes sense, like this is why she is the way she is. And then there's a plot twist, which you guys will have to watch it to
you'll have
find
to
out.
wait to see that. We can't give away the farm.
But yeah,
Can't
that's
say
pretty
too
much
Gotcha.
what I can say about that before saying too much.
Gotcha. So how would you categorize this film? Like thriller, suspense, a little horror? How would you sum that up?
I would say it is a psychological horror with a little bit of action in there too.
Yeah. I like that because it seems pretty diverse just in the trailer. Seemed like it was an action movie, but also kind of suspenseful.
Yeah,
and
it is
thriller-ish.
suspenseful, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're currently working on that.
Right.
When can folks plan to maybe see that?
Really hoping and pushing for, I'd say, the end of January.
Okay. Right on.
Yay.
Sounds good. Yeah. And you are the lead actress.
I am.
Awesome. And obviously this film is by Alex. So you guys, definitely keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to ask you both your perspective skill sets. What made you, I guess I'll start with Alex, if that's okay.
Yeah.
What made you want to become a filmmaker or cinematographer, better yet? What was your inspiration in wanting to do so? Like, basically, how'd you start?
Growing up, I used to love cameras. I shot a lot of like 35 millimeter film back in the day, and just little point and shoot cameras. And I took that out to Charleston on trips when I was like in the 5th grade, and I remember losing my camera off of the ship going out to the battery. I dropped it off, and of course I would do something like that. But
Yeah.
and after that, man, I've like always loved films and stuff. And one thing I always remember is the conversation like I had with my grandmother. At the time, I didn't know, like watching Terminator and like Bruce Lee movies and like horror movies, that it was cinematography, it was filmmaking. I didn't know like that, but I've just always have had love for film. And I remember having the conversation with my grandmother, telling her that, one day I want to shoot movies, because that's all I knew at the time was what it was, is shooting movies.
Right.
And I used to be like really heavy into martial arts growing up, so I bought my own little camera. It was a little fold-out LED or LCD screen, and I used to record myself on a tripod and do tricks and backflips and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just always enjoyed the process of like putting a film together, and then got into photography. And it's just funny how things find you down the road, because it sure did find me. And I went from photography and then found my way as a cinematographer. So
Gotcha.
pretty excited.
So I guess it'd be safe to say that you enjoy that much more than photography?
I do. I learned a lot about lighting in photography and manual settings. So actually, when I came to video, I didn't have to really learn all the things with manual settings and stuff, because it all carried over. The only thing I really kind of had to learn was more like frames per second. Kind of took me a minute, and then I understood it, and I was like, okay, cool. So let's go make something cool. Let's make something cinematic, or let's make some slow-mo stuff. Right.
Cool. Very cool. And since we're kind of sort of camera heads, obviously you're much more advanced than me. I'm going to come back to gear, like your favorite gear and what gear you use and stuff like that, especially for your work. So the star of the film, Dominique, how did you get into acting? What made you want to pursue that?
I've always wanted to be an actor, but I guess it was just one of those things, like I wanted to do it, but I never pursued it until about 3 years ago. I have a 6-year-old son, so I had him, and then I started cleaning houses, and I just had like an epiphany one day. Like I was cleaning somebody's house, and I was like, oh my gosh, screw this. Like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Like, I want to pursue my dreams. Like, I can't just see myself just, not that there's anything wrong with like being just a stay-at-home mom, but like I don't believe that you need to just end your life when you have children. And I feel like a lot of people perceive that wrong. Like they just give up on their dreams. And I don't believe that. I believe that you can still go after what you want and still be a great mom. And I think it's all about finding that balance.
Right.
But yeah, I started Googling and seeing where I needed to start to begin that. I think that was like the hardest thing too, is I didn't have someone there to like kind of guide me. And so that's why I feel like I'm really helpful towards people who are trying to get into the industry, because I wish I had that getting into it. Right. But yeah, I always wanted to do it, and now I'm doing it.
That's cool. That's cool. Is this your guys' first project together?
Oh, no.
No, you've done other ones, of course.
We've worked together a lot.
Okay, gotcha. So, and if there's anything like you want me to link, like other work or other films, I'll definitely do that. So you guys look for that in the description below. And then obviously I'll leave a link to the trailer. Is that up now where I can leave a link for that?
Yeah, we can leave a link to the trailer.
Okay, cool. So, that is what you're currently working on. That's cool. And maybe January, the folks will get to see it. Anything else in the works that you could speak about? Besides, well, we're going to talk about an event that's being held in Greenville this upcoming Friday, but any sort of work that you're doing, both of you, maybe, that you want to mention?
I would say like I am like pretty big into lighting. So,
What's your lighting company called?
Cine Lighting Pro.
Cine Lighting Pro, right. Yeah. You were supposed to do an event for that, and of course, COVID struck, so that got pushed back, but I'm still looking very forward to that if that happens, because I can definitely learn a lot from that. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'm in the process of creating courses right now. I want to be able to teach cinematic lighting, like whether that be with good aux lights, if that's all you have, or LED panels. I want to be able to show filmmakers like how to make with the lighting gear that you have more big budget using gels, or like teaching people how to hide lights, teaching about Kelvin and like intensity and diffusion and bounce and negative fill, and just bringing that into your films and seeing like a big difference. I'm really passionate about like helping people because like I learned the hard way, and I kind of wished at the time people would have helped me.
Right.
So I don't know. It just feels good to like actually help people,
Right.
So,
right. Not to mention he's going to help me with my short film next year. So that's something else we'll work on. Just got to finish the script. But yeah, I mean, a lot of folks don't still grasp the fact that lighting is so important.
It is.
For any situation, not just for film, but like now. I mean, obviously this is the most basic setup possible for a podcast, but the way you light a scene is, I know, just so important, and it defines and it makes your look.
Yeah.
And they say that 80% of cinematography is lighting, which I do agree with, because, I mean, a lot of people don't have the budget to, get a red or an Alexa, those type of things. And those cameras are phenomenal with dynamic range and color science. But even if you had that camera, like if your lighting's garbage, your film's going to be garbage too.
Right.
Or if your sound's garbage, like it's just...
Right.
People can watch low resolution video, but they don't really care to hear bad sound.
Crappy sound.
Yeah, crappy sound.
Yeah.
So same way for lighting too. So
right.
You got to think about lighting is important to really build out for. Lighting is important to build out for the scene because it's also how your actor feels. So.
And I really love the breakdowns that you've been doing. I've seen some stills from a project that you were working on this week, and you were basically showing the location of what light. Right. I think there were some guys sitting at like a kitchen table or some like sort of table, and you were breaking down the light, where it was, what jello was used, what temperature. So that's pretty cool too. And hopefully we can insert that here as some B-roll as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that helps people learn. And besides that, trial and error, of course, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Trial and error. That's the biggest thing, how you can really learn. Because, I mean, you can watch diagrams and stuff like that, and then utilize the lights that you have to build out a scene. And just, I feel like each time you do a scene, like you get better with lighting because you see what you did wrong. You go back, you correct it for the next time. Diffusion is your best friend.
Right.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, obviously, knowing how to set that up, it would be really, really beneficial. So the courses that you're working on, I guess they're going to be like video courses?
I'm going to do several videos,
okay,
and I'm going to break it down into like segments, starting from the beginning of like what diffusion is, like the angle of light. I'm also going to teach one for more commercial of high key lighting, interview lighting, top-down lighting, etc.
Gotcha. Now, will the course also basically give basics on cinematography, like composition, frame rates, shutter speeds, all that good stuff?
Well, actually, this is going to really be more towards lighting only. But of course, like it is important when you're building out lighting to use like your histogram or false color,
right?
To have your camera set so you can see what the final image is going to look like. But yeah, it's important, at least in my opinion, to use the monitor to build your lighting so you know what you're doing.
Right.
You
cool.
see what you're building.
Well, when you get that up and going, let me know, and I'll update the description, put that in there. Hopefully you can rock out some sales with that.
Oh, yeah.
Some people want to learn more, get educated. So you're no stranger to acting then, I guess, since this is not your first project and not the first time you guys have worked on. So let me ask you, out of the roles that you've done, I won't ask you specifically which ones you've done, but what would be your ideal type of role, you think? What's your most favorite out of what you've done so far?
I'm not just saying this because he's sitting right here.
Okay.
Because I drove here, so I don't have to walk home. I will say Dana from Analepsis.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Because he wrote her in a way that I could show range. And I just love the homework as an actor to build up my character and to bring that on screen. And just like us having meetings, like I'm trying to give him his vision. So like he's great with giving me creative control, which I like. I'm sure every actor likes that. So I was able to just create her in a way that I envisioned her, and he loved it. So yeah, I'd have to say Analepsis.
Right on. Yeah, I was looking at the trailer and I was like, where you were sitting in the woods against a tree and you started crying and laughing. I said, oh, she crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see this, definitely.
So we actually improvised that.
Oh, okay.
So to throw that out there as a teaser to get people kind of like interested in the film.
Right.
And then we decided later that, yeah, we're going to keep that scene in there because so many people loved it.
Right.
And
because
like,
I thought it was like kind of like the end of a scene, and then kind of like the laughing part was going into a blooper. But I was like, oh no, this is going on. So yeah, that's cool.
I also want to add to, and I'm sure you noticed this being you do camera work too, it was a one take and he did great with that. So
it was a good lead up too.
Yeah.
Until, you was like right there at the tree stump and crying, laughing and all that stuff.
I felt really bad for Silas, the sound guy.
Why? Because you were yelling?
Yeah, I did warn him, but he didn't know when it was going to happen. I just
okay.
let it flow out of me.
Did you catch the cell phone and the rock, or the stick and the cell phone between the tree line before it switches over to the other side?
No, I didn't see it.
So she has a cell phone she starts out with. She pulls out a cell phone. And then when the camera pans past the tree, it's an actual stick she puts down.
It's because I'm hallucinating.
Yeah, she's hallucinating.
Cool. I got to go back and watch it now.
Yeah. a lot of people, like, you have to watch it a few times, but once you, like, see it, you're like, oh, like, she's just hallucinating right now. So
nice. Little nuggets in there. I like that.
Yeah.
Because that's something that you definitely think about beforehand.
And she did really good. And, yeah, I did, like, write the part. I started writing it out a little bit, and then I was already have in mind, like, who do I feel like would be good for this role? And Dominique over here, so I already knew, and I really like working with her because she really is a great actress, and she's really good with emotion, like drawing emotion out.
Oh, for sure, I can see that.
And I feel like that's really important. So I really felt like I needed this for this role, and she portrayed that really well.
Cool, very cool. Yeah,
Thank you.
I can't wait to see it. I hope you guys can't wait to see it either, because it looks very interesting. And of course, I've given you kudos before, like, your work, man, is so good, and
Thank you.
That's exactly why I want and need your help. Alex, you are from Greenville, or you currently reside in Greenville? Are you from Greenville?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina.
Cool. And you, Dominique?
I was born in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay,
And
Florida
I'm
girl.
here. Yeah.
You like the weather here? No?
I actually, it took me a while, but yes, I do now.
Yeah.
I like the springtime and the fall is my favorite.
Right. I've been in Anderson. I'm originally from Manhattan, New York, but I've been in South Carolina for 26 years.
How long did it take you? Like, did you ever have like an accent when you lived up there?
Yes.
Really?
And it took very little time, because when I moved to, I moved to North Carolina first, and then I was like 10 or 11. And then about a year after, moved to South Carolina. So yeah, it didn't take very long to lose it.
Wow.
My mom lives here, and she still has her accent.
Yeah.
Really?
You can hear it come out more so often than none.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? But I think it's because she talks to my aunt who lives in New York. So when you can talk to someone.
Yes. It's like my mom does that. Sorry, Mom. But like when she's talking to people in New York, all of a sudden it comes out. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah, you can kind of keep it up that way if you're talking to someone from up there. But,
yeah.
So how's Greenville? You like Greenville?
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty busy all the time, but traffic, I know I can't really say much to people who live in like LA and New York and stuff, but Greenville traffic's enough for me.
Right.
But there's plenty to do around here, and the parks around here are like really beautiful, so there's plenty of locations to shoot at, and I'd say like most of the people around here is pretty nice.
Right. I like the fact that it's a good in-between between North Carolina and Georgia.
I was going to say that, yeah.
People say Anderson is, but as you all know, I'm not very fond of Anderson. I know, just move the hell on out of here if you don't like it, but easier said than done. But anyways, yeah, Greenville's pretty cool, and it's growing so much.
Oh yeah, it's never stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great place, I feel like, to like raise a family. Like I'm glad that like I had my son here and not in Florida, because Florida's a lot more fast paced than here. And
Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
South Florida, where I was from, it was
Gotcha.
it's kind of like New York in a way, like and like the people down there, I like the hospitality here. I'm just gonna say that. Everyone's super nice here.
Well, you know,
But, yeah.
it's crazy. I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but everyone says Southern hospitality. When I first moved down here, I really couldn't gauge that because I was young. But me and my girlfriend a couple weeks ago went to North Carolina. Everyone was so nice.
Yes.
Like even in the gas station, you know. And it's like here, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's Southern hospitality. I guess it's all the area that you're in.
Yeah,
Greenville's
I agree.
much better, I think, than Anderson, of course.
Yes, I can agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But like when I moved here, I was like, why is everyone staring at me? Why are they all waving? It's like the scenes in the movie at the beginning when it's like, hi neighbor, and they're all like waving to you. I'm like, what is
So
that?
something's going on here. It's very fishy. It's
You
one of
look
those-
at someone like that in Florida and you get flicked off or ran off the road.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably the same way here in Anderson, but
Yeah.
yeah. But Greenville, I've found, is a good place to not only network but try to do business.
Yeah, I would say, and maybe you might agree or disagree, but like I feel like the film industry here is not that big, but it's growing. It really is. It's growing. I just wish it was a little bit bigger.
Right, and by here he means Greenville.
Yeah, Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. But you know, I mean, I beat up Anderson all the time, and yes, I live here. It's okay. It's just not progressive enough for me. It's not like a tech-centric place. But like I was having a conversation with a guy, my last podcast, he was like, well, why don't you change that? And I'm like, because people have tried it. People have like opened up co-work space, tried to do events, and it just, no one was really interested.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because of fear or whatnot, but I mean, that's the whole thing, I think, is overcoming your fears, whether that's photography, you know, filmmaking, acting, you know, even a podcast, starting a podcast. And that's something I'm actually trying to do, is set up a little studio.
That would be awesome.
Plug here.
Yeah.
Besides this set, if you ever want to start a podcast, you know, so reach out. Anyways, but so you guys are excited to be working together again, I imagine.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna-
So, Dominique, acting. You have any other talents we should know about besides acting?
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of what you guys were talking about earlier, the lighting. He is actually teaching me more about lighting and camera setting. So eventually I would like to be a DP in the future.
Gotcha.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
you made a little hint post to him the other day about maybe doing a project, being a DP, right?
Yeah.
she's not afraid to get her hands dirty and every time we're on set, she's always like trying to help.
That's awesome.
Like break, she knows how to break gear down now. So like I don't even have to ask her. Like she just comes over there and she like breaks the stands down or moves the lights, rolls up
awesome.
cords, like those type of things. So,
Nice having help, right?
Yeah.
You know that camera girl, Helena?
Oh yeah.
Do you know who she is?
Who?
That camera girl, Helena?
No.
Russian
Yeah,
girl,
she's
right?
girl.
Yeah.
She's pretty rad. I mean, she does so many cool things and projects, and
Where does she live?
she is overseas somewhere, but she's Russian.
She's I think she's a big YouTuber as well.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
a YouTuber. She's all over Instagram. Like her pictures are being used by like different pages and stuff like that. But anyways,
I would love
that's
to.
gonna be you.
Yeah, that will be me. I have confidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wear
Yeah.
multiple hats. I mean, it being, indie film projects around here too, you kind of have to. But I'm not the kind of actor who just sits around and waits for crew to do stuff. Like I like
Makeup,
Yeah.
snacks.
I like to help them out, and I actually really enjoy doing crew work too. So
That's cool.
I'm on both sides.
She's a
very
quick
good.
learner. at
Right
it.
on, right on. Cool. Well, gear. Like, that's a really important part of filmmaking. This is the year, I guess you want to say prosumer cameras from like Canon and Sony and Panasonic came out with a new one. Blackmagic came out with a 12K one. What type of gear do you use, and what type of gear do you prefer? Maybe you have differences, like as far as what type of things that you're shooting.
Yeah, so most of the time I just work off the client's budget. So, we'll talk about when I'm like with the director, most of the time, like we'll put a camera package together, whether that be like the DJI Ronin S, or that might be the Ronin M with like a ready rig or something like that. It just really depends on the project. But I don't own a cinema camera right now.
Okay.
I just sold my camera today.
Not yet.
Not yet. I've been wanting one for like 6 years.
So what do you primarily use?
Sony A6-III300, just a little mirrorless camera.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What do you shoot an Analepsis with?
We shot that on the Panasonic Ava, and then we also shot it on the FS700.
Right on.
R.
Right on. So you just rented those or something?
Actually, that was a buddy of mine's. He was
Oh.
actually the one who directed. Dylan Amy is his name.
Okay.
He directed Analepsis, so that was his gear, and we shot with the FS700R with the Atomos, and we shot, I think, ProRes RAW.
Right.
And then the Panasonic, which is the color times between the two cameras are like just astronomical, away from each other. But
Right.
we're making it work. So,
Right on.
but yeah, I mostly just work off the budget off of a client.
Gotcha. So you're in the market for a cinema camera.
I am.
What you looking at?
Oh God, this is so hard. I'm getting an Alexa. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I wish.
You're definitely shooting my movie. Yes.
Yeah. I'd say I'm really looking at the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K.
Okay.
I really love the Blackmagic Ursa. I like
The Ursa Mini.
Yeah, the Ursa
Okay,
Mini
gotcha.
or the 4.6K.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also trying to future-proof stuff too, so I know that I can't stick that like on a Ronin S, so it'd have to
Right.
be like on a Ronin M, which is bigger with like a ready rig or something. So I do want something in a little smaller form factor, and I think the 4K, the Pocket 4K would be really good on that because
Gotcha.
the dynamic range on that coming out the box is pretty decent when you're not
Right.
using like a recorder on it. So
And they're really impressive cameras for the price.
They are.
Valued for money.
yeah,
They're pretty cool. Only thing is you got to rig them out. But again,
yeah.
if you're doing cinema type work, you're gonna have a rig anyways.
I already got the rig built out.
Oh.
It's on Amazon. I'm getting ready to purchase it. Let's
Oh,
see.
okay. So you're gonna use some native Micro Four Thirds lenses, or you're gonna do speed booster with EF?
I'm gonna use the speed boosters on them
Cool.
with the Micro Four Third lenses.
Gives you some extra light,
Now there's
some extra field of view.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Vayner lenses I've heard good things about too.
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
looked
seen
at those.
You have?
Those and the IRIX lenses. I'm not sure if you've heard of
Irix.
those.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, the IRIX lenses are nice cinema. They're like T2.1 lenses for around $1,200. They're primes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, those ones that you mentioned are kind of up there in price.
Do you like primes or zooms better?
Primes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just not necessarily for the shallow depth of field. I just think when you have that one set focal range, it's
Exactly.
going to give you a sharper, and it makes you a better composer as well, composing your shots, because you don't have that luxury of zooming in and out and stuff like that. And I think that's the whole point of setting up shots. If you have one focal range.
Zooms are cool as long as the aperture doesn't change.
Right.
Like
I hate variable aperture
God,
lenses.
it sucks so much.
Now, for like the stuff that I've been doing lately, like wedding work, I don't mind a zoom, especially because
Right.
I'm one person running and gunning. Somebody may move, and I don't have a chance to move forwards or backwards. But yeah, the primes are my favorite usually. Dream camera. If you could have it right now, tomorrow, if you could go pick up your dream camera tomorrow, your dream camera and one lens to go with it. It can be anything. One lens, the manufacturer, the focal length, and your dream camera. What would it be?
That's easy. That would definitely be the Alexa. The
Yeah.
Arri Alexa, and with the Arri Alexa Primes, I think the newer ones just come out recently too, which those are, I hear the glass on those are really sharp.
Yeah,
How much are those?
Like
Lots.
as much as a house.
about 70 to 80 grand just for the body,
Yeah,
and then
just
the
body.
lens, and then to outfit it all. And the card is about $3,000 for
Yeah,
the memory card.
Pretty expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with just getting like a Blackmagic.
Yeah, Blackmagic's cool.
Or I've actually been looking at like Zcam, the S6.
Yeah.
It's basically to me like a red Komodo, and they like
look like it,
they directly copied Zcam. I think the sensor in it is pretty cool from what I've seen.
I think those are Micro Four Thirds too.
The E2 M4 is a Micro Four Thirds. The S6 is a Super 35 EF, and then the F6 is a full frame EF,
Nice.
which is really nice. But it's about $4,000. The S6 is like $2,500. But
The
for what it gets you, it's pretty rad.
The only thing I was looking at that one between that and the Blackmagic, comparing the two, and I was kind of sold on the Z-Cam up until like I found out that the codecs on them are not compatible with like DaVinci or Premiere
Right.
to
The
be recognized.
Z-Raw, yeah.
The Z-Raw.
But
So
for me, I would shoot in ProRes RAW.
you was?
Anyways, yeah. But I say I want a cinema camera, but I'm rocking the Panasonic S1s, and everybody gives me shit about it. And I'm like, whatever. I don't need your autofocus. And they're like, yeah, you do. You're in a wedding, and I'm like, it does fine in light. It's the low light, but that's exactly why I have a 35 1.4 on it. It doesn't do bad. It's not Canon or Sony, but value for dollar. Again, it gives a great image, has great codecs, and now Panasonic is giving us a Christmas gift. It's going to shoot 5.9K internally.
Oh, wow.
And also externally ProRes RAW November 28th.
Wow.
And I bought that S1 that we're filming on right now for $1,650.
Really?
They still sell it, just the body alone, for $2,500.
What's that, the Lumix what?
That's the S1.
S1?
Yeah,
Okay.
with a Sigma 35 1.4 on it.
Is that the one that shoots 6K images too?
No, that's the S1H.
Okay.
But with the firmware update, they're opening up the camera because it's a 6K camera. They just downsample the image to 4K. But now they're opening up the entire sensor, allowing us to do it internally and externally. I'm okay with that. You know, I don't need to buy a Z-Cam. In the future, like if I start rocking and rolling and doing some more like cinema stuff, sure. But still at this point, I think a Z-Cam would be my choice if I could pick one.
Which one again?
The S6.
And how much was that one?
$2,500.
Okay, never
Yep.
mind.
And the cool thing I like about those is that you can put those NPF 970 batteries on it. You don't necessarily have to rig it out. You could put a monitor on it, or an Atomos, you know, for that matter.
Well, is it the? Don't they have a model like the M4? Or
Yeah,
something?
the E2 M4 is the Micro Four Thirds version, and it's said to have the same sensor as the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. That's always a mouthful.
Yeah, I read that one. I was reading it the other day. That one has 16 stops. We'll go up to 16 stops, a dynamic range without like a recorder.
Yep. And then the F6, which is their flagship one, supposedly has 18 to 19 stops of dynamic range.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and it's $4,000. And they seem like really good cameras. I'm in a Z-Cam group, so I just basically kind of creep in that group to see what everyone says because I have no input because I don't have it. But I'd like to get people's perspective on it.
Was the E2C, and then what was the next one from that one?
The E2 M4.
The E2 M4?
The E2C is discontinued. That was basically their first model back in 2019.
One's $799, just the body.
Yeah.
And it's the E2C, I believe.
Yeah, and it's, from what I hear, it's still good camera. But like the S6, the $2,500 model, it shoots 6K 60, 4K 120. So that's pretty beefy for a camera.
Man, you're gonna make me think about that. That's the only thing that's holding me back was basically just the codec for the Z-Raw. But I
well, you know, internally on the Z-Cam, you don't have to shoot Z-Raw. You can shoot ProRes RAWs. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then if you want to do ProRes RAW 6K, it'll have to be done externally with the Atomos. But if you already have one, then you're good to go.
Might be getting a Z-Cam.
Yeah, I think for longevity purposes, because I've heard some like build quality issues with the Blackmagic. I think the Z-Cam may be a better option. It's just built like a tank. I got to hold one without a lens, and it was
Did it
pretty
feel
beefy.
plasticky when you hold it?
No. The Blackmagic, I got to hold a 4K when I rented from the place in Spartanburg that rents out camera equipment. I can't remember the name of it, but that one felt really plasticky to me.
Really?
Like
Yeah,
it was so light.
It just felt like if you dropped it, it would definitely break.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, most cameras will, but you just like you know what I'm saying? Like
but it just didn't feel beefy.
Yeah.
Like I'll let you hold that one when we get done. It's like that's why I like Panasonic too, is because value for money is built like a tank.
Exactly.
So that's the whole thing for me. So now that we talked about cameras a little bit, you know, everybody keeps talking about
Chinese
cameras this year.
is what I'd like to call it. I'm like, what?
You're learning.
Speaking of Chinese, we had Chinese food tonight.
She
love
asked
Chinese
questions.
food.
That's why I like her. So
Sorry, did you have a question?
What? No.
Oh, I thought
No,
she's.
did
I thought. Oh, okay.
Oh no! I mean, I asked questions about like cameras and stuff. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she has
Cool.
So have you besides doing the breakdown and learning lighting, are you using a certain camera, or have you used a certain camera that you like?
The only one that I've started learning on is his camera,
Sony, yeah.
the Sony.
The Sony. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm still like learning. I'm trying to get past like the camera settings and aperture and
Right. ISO
shutter
and all
speed
that
and
stuff.
all that. But
Yeah.
like, I hear all these terms you guys speak of, and I just want to ask you guys, because as an actor, I mean, I feel like now I'm like, gosh, my job is so easy. Like, how long did it take you guys to learn all these like cameras and like
Trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error.
Wow.
I mean, I think you start to get the basics of it when you get into photography.
Yeah.
Because you still have to use ISO, aperture, shutter speed, but it becomes a bit more complicated when you get over to cinema because you have to set up your frames correctly.
Right.
Which everyone should know this by now. Whatever you're shooting, you shoot double as far as your shutter speed of your frame rate. Other than that, you have judder. You don't have natural motion like flow and blur and all that stuff. But like you said, trial and error, there's times where I don't set my shutter speed correctly, and I know better, but I just don't pay attention because I'm trying to get the picture exposed correctly and try to get it, composed correctly. But you'll still mess up occasionally, but hopefully it's not on something really important,
I feel like if you start out as a photographer, like especially if you're into weddings, you have to know your settings like the back of your hand because you might get into a low light situation, so you have to adjust it if like bride and groom's coming down or something. You got to be able to like
on the fly and be comfortable with your camera.
Exactly.
Because other than that, if you're fiddling around, you're missing a shot. Especially in a running gun situation. Especially if you're one person, you don't have another camera locked off. Yeah, so it's happened. It sucks.
It sucks.
Especially on a wedding day because you can't redo that. You know what I mean? So it's like you make the best of it and you hope that, did you like the highlight clip? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So.
But it's not as bad, I feel like, if you already kind of have a foundation for like manual settings and then you step into video, like if you learn like frame rates and like learning to double your frame rate. And then I think just the terminology just a little bit different if you're working with regular photography lenses that are with f-stops, and then you move it into cinema lenses that work with t-stops.
Yep.
The fact of shutter speed versus like shutter angle.
Right.
For cinema cameras. But they're the same thing,
Yeah, they're the same thing. And another thing about the S1, I'm bragging on my S1 because I like Panasonic. You should buy one. Is typically with the S1s, you have to set your shutter speed. But with the new update, it's going to have that constant 180-degree shutter.
Yeah.
So even if you pop over to 120, 150, 180 frames per second for slow-mo, you don't have to change your shutter speed.
It matches it.
It matches it internally, which is pretty rad. And that's one thing that a lot of people will forget about. Like, okay, I want slow-mo, but you forgot to set your shutter speed. It's not slow. It's like do. You know?
And that's why cinema cameras are a lot better than like mirrorless cameras and stuff, because they have so like the bigger form factor bodies, like in the Ursa and stuff like that. You look at all these buttons, like, is this necessary?
Right. But it is.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
I mean, it's so many features in the cinema camera that you can have as far as your exposure and built-in NDs and XLR inputs for microphones like this one. It's way better than a prosumer camera, especially if you're doing that type of work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Eva had that when I used it, the Panasonic Eva. Have you seen that camera?
I have. The Eva 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to be coming out with the Eva 2 here soon, but probably soon, meaning next year, probably first quarter or something like that. But what Panasonic needs to work on, that's fine. They need a new cinema camera update, is more lenses for the L mount, because that L mount's got a lot of kind of like harsh negativity on it because they're not making a ton of lenses for it. And Sigma and Leica and Panasonic were supposed to, but they're not. But that's the benefit, I guess, of having Canon and Sony. You have to give up a little bit for either or.
Right.
But they always have lenses. And Canon lenses, you can adapt to pretty much anything. So that's a pretty good thing.
And all these like different adapters and stuff and speed boosters, I think, is making it a little bit easier for making connections with like other lenses and stuff. And giving you more stops of light too. Right. Which I think is mostly used on the Micro Four Third bodies.
Yeah, the speed booster, a lot of people don't like Micro Four Thirds bodies because of the small sensor and the low light lacking that it has.
Right.
But with a speed booster, like you said, you get more depth of field, you get extra stops of light, et cetera, et cetera.
They're so expensive. Those Metabone ones are like $600.
Yeah. Definitely wouldn't get one of those. Look into Comlight or Viltrox.
Yeah, I've seen the Viltrox.
The Viltrox Mark II with the newest firmware update, I hear and see that it works pretty well. And it's like $200.
For the Viltrox?
For the speed booster. And it's a 0.71, I think, as a speed booster. So It's not as good as a 0.64, but it still gives you way more depth of field. Not depth of field, field of view. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Going from like a crop sensor to like a full frame body, you're like, I can see the whole world.
Right, exactly. Because before this camera, I had a
view.
Fuji, and I love the Fujis. I had an X-T3 and X-T4, but APS-C to full frame is definitely a big difference, for sure. Especially like when people, I never used to get when someone said 24 millimeter APS-C, 35 millimeter equivalent, like because of the difference in the sensor size,
right?
You know, for sure. But enough about cameras. What I want to ask you about. So, Dominique,
Yes.
What advice can you give someone that's looking to get into acting based upon your experience? Like, where would you recommend they start?
I would first start by finding an acting class. You can, well, with COVID now, things are a little different,
Right.
but you can audit classes and find which one fits for you, because each class you go to is different from other ones. So just finding one that you really like and you can connect with the instructor in and that kind of thing, and you feel like you're progressing in, and then get headshots done. That's like, I can't stress that
priority,
enough.
right? Yeah.
Starting out, it's okay to get them done, like maybe by like your sister who's a photographer or someone, but definitely invest in a
pro
professional.
headshots.
I can't stress that enough. Getting
Yeah.
professional headshots.
Right.
And then setting up your sites and start submitting to projects. I actually help a few minors in Greenville. I am not certified or anything, but I've been doing this for 3 years, and so I feel like I can help people who are just starting out.
Right.
So I have a couple of people that I do help, and I'm willing to help anyone who would like to reach out to me if they're looking to get into acting.
Cool. Well, I'll leave your info in the description.
Thanks.
One other question I have for you. What's your favorite movie? I'm going to put you on the spot.
What's your favorite?
Off the top of your head.
Oh, man.
Not scary movie, but what's your favorite movie?
Oh, why did you ask me that? I hate this question.
I can come back.
There's so many good movies out there.
Yeah.
Come back to me.
Okay, I'll come
think
back
about
to you. All righty. So, Alex, what would you give advice-wise for someone looking to get into filmmaking and cinematography?
I would say just like surround yourself, like find people in the industry, whether that be like asking questions in the Greenville Young Professionals group and just letting people know who you are. And then there's also, isn't it Upstate Filmmakers?
Upstate Film
Filmmakers.
Community.
Film community.
Okay,
You think
yep.
I would know that, but yeah, and just reaching out into like groups like that, and letting them know who you are, and then just learning from people. And sometimes we can all get caught up on watching like YouTube videos on filmmaking and stuff like that, and
Right.
then it's like we get so caught up we never implement it.
Right.
What we learn.
Right.
But you don't have to have like a camera package. Like you can start off with like a cell phone. Like like these iPhones, they shoot in 4K. You put that on like a gimbal, or if you don't have a gimbal, just keep it steady.
Right.
But just constantly like learning. Like I don't feel like you have to go to film school. I mean, if you want to learn like the business part of it, I think it would be good to do that. But you don't have to spend those thousands of dollars to be a filmmaker,
Right.
because you can grow in the community. And if your work speaks for itself, you can find business because people will reach out to you.
Yeah, that's good advice. Starting with a phone, just as long as you start, pick up what you have
Exactly.
and start. I mean, because there's been movies shot on a phone, just nothing but a phone. I can't remember, it's not coming to me, but there was a movie where this girl was put in an insane hospital, and the guy shot it directly all on a phone, in that kind of like phone perspective. But I'll think of it and maybe link it down below. Tons of links coming down below.
Yeah,
We got a
tons
lot
of
of
them.
information to overload you with, as to not be confusing. Maybe I can hit you with this now, since we're coming back to Dominique. Off the top of your head, favorite movie? You.
Oh, me.
Yeah, you.
Okay. So I'm really big into like fight films. I really love the Raid Redemption films. The director, I can't remember his name. Gareth Evans actually is the director. It's a really interesting SWAT movie, and it's it's so awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right on.
Anybody who likes film and anybody who likes martial arts will absolutely love this movie because it's packed with plenty of action in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right on. Cool. It's your turn, or you want me to go? I'm a simple man, so you guys are probably gonna be like, really?
I think you're gonna be like, really. So my favorite movie, I think, because I quoted a lot, is
Matilda.
Yes Man.
Yes, man. With Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Did
you guys catch that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's cool. I mean, everybody has their pick, right? Mine, believe it or not, is Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Man of
Just because
Steel.
I am a big Zack Snyder fan, I am stoked that Justice League 2, or not 2 is coming, but the Snyder cut of Justice League is coming out. He got the money to do that.
I never understood what the Snyder's cut was really.
Okay, so I'm going to break it down because
Please.
I've been wanting to start a comic book podcast, so I'll give you a little teaser of my thoughts. So originally when Zack Snyder started Justice League, he got about 25% done. His daughter died. He had to leave. Besides Zack Snyder being on Justice League, it was Hans Zimmer, Junkie XL.
Hans Zimmer.
So they were going to have an awesome film. So then they bring in Josh Whedon, totally scrap everything that Zack Snyder's done, get rid of Hans's score and Junkie's score. I don't know. I mean, they fuck up all the time doing stuff like this, and that's what I don't get. Like, give the fans what they want. You should have waited out of respect.
Yeah.
It's not to say he would have been gone forever. Let the man grieve. Anyways, long story short, the Snyder Cut, he had a vision for the movies. Basically, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Justice League 1, Justice League 2, Flash movie, Cyborg movie. Anyways, he's coming back. He's finishing the rest of his shoots, which is about 75% of work. They gave him $40 million to start with, and he said, well, you know what? I need more. Because there was a petition started on Twitter, release the Snyder Cut. Well, after about 2 million signatures, they decided to get their head out of their ass and do it. So Warner Brothers struck a deal with HBO Max, and now he's getting to release his version, which is more backstories on characters that they didn't touch on, like Flash and Cyborg, and the new villain, which in Justice League was Steppenwolf. Now it's Darkseid and Dustseid. So he's bringing his vision to life now, and that's why it's taken a little bit of time to do it. But they announced that about 2 months ago, and now he's going to get greenlit for Justice League 2. Ben Affleck's back as Batman. They're going to still do Pattinson in the new Batman, but I don't know about that. Not because he was in Twilight. He's a great actor with great range. He really is.
So that is true. Like he is.
Yeah, he is the Batman now.
Oh, God.
And like Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. Colin Farrell is the Penguin. I can't ever remember the guy's name, but he's a good actor too. He's playing the Riddler. Anyways, long story short, I like Man of Steel because I like Snyder and I love Henry Cavill.
Yes,
I think he's been the best Superman ever. And most may say, well, Christopher Reeves, yes, but it's a different time, different story, different type of movies.
Yeah, I feel like they have different, like, I hate when they say that because people have different takes on the character.
Right.
It's
Just
not
like,
necessarily that they were better. They had a different
Right.
vision for it, and
Right.
they still brought it in their own way. Same thing with the Joker, but
right.
that'll be another podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Man, maybe we should start a comic.
Yeah.
But like the Nolan trilogy, totally different, from what we've seen so far with the new Batman stuff. But yeah, Man of Steel's my favorite. And most recently, the movie that I've seen is Knives Out.
I haven't seen that.
It's so good.
Is it?
It's so good. I mean, the cinematography in it, the colors, the acting, it's so good. You guys should check
I'll
that out.
have to watch that.
It has a lot of good actors in it, like Jamie Lee Curtis,
Oh, yes.
Chris Evans,
Oh, nice.
I
I love
Evans is
Chris
in it.
Evans.
Daniel Craig. I mean, it's got so many good. It's like a suspense thriller.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't
Sorry.
think it's on Netflix. I
Okay.
can't remember which streaming app it's on now. But even if
But it's on a streaming. So
yeah,
we could
like
find
and probably
it.
you can
Okay.
rent it for like $4 or $5. But it's so good.
Yes, it's worth
Yeah,
it.
so good. That and also Ready or Not, which I know is on HBO.
I haven't seen that either.
It looks. You guys, you don't even like movies. Come on, I mean, this is all.
Trust
never mind.
me.
Just cancel this whole episode. I'm just
My
kidding.
brother tells me that all the time. He's like, you haven't seen this movie.
That's
No,
because you're too busy
sorry.
working, which is a
I
good thing.
know.
Yep, exactly. So, one last thing that we're going to leave with, because we've been here for a minute, but this is good stuff. Film networking event in Greenville, South Carolina, this upcoming Friday, which is, what's the date?
November 20th.
November 20th. You guys are holding a film networking event. Tell the listeners and the viewers a little bit about that.
So we've been doing, I think this will be our third one, but I try to host them every few months. Obviously, again, with COVID, things have been kind of postponed. But I try to get the film community together so people can network and connect with people and try to grow the film community here. Obviously, it's not going to be Atlanta, but I'm trying to help everyone around here. And so I wanted to do something different this Friday and host a industry talkback panel. So we haven't announced the panelists speakers yet, but we will be announcing those probably tomorrow.
Okay.
And it'll be 5 people on the panel, and I'm gonna ask them questions about the industry, how they got into it, that kind of thing. And it's free to the public. So if you're interested in getting into film, it's a great way to network with people and meet some pretty cool people who, have done bigger things and that kind of thing. So.
Awesome. So this Friday, 6 p.m.,
yes.
Greenville, South Carolina, Jack and Diane's.
Yes,
downtown. Where it's going to be downtown Greenville.
Yes.
And that will actually be the first link that I leave in the description, and then I'll overload you with the rest. You guys' information, you guys' handles and all that stuff. So definitely try to make it out. I think it'd be a pretty cool event.
You should come too, Neil.
I'm going to try.
You're invited.
I'm going to try my best. I promise. Because I definitely want to come learn some things. Obviously from Alex and you and others that you're going to have on the panel. Sounds like a pretty good time.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
Cool. Very cool. Well, guys, I thank you so much. I hope you had fun like I did.
I had a blast. Yeah, thank you for bringing us on here.
No problem. I mean, I could keep on for a couple hours, but you guys got to go home eventually. But I appreciate you coming on to do this podcast episode. It was really good.
Thank you, Neil.
And I thank you guys so much for checking out this episode of Small Talk, Bigger Ideas. And until the next one, take care.
Bye.